My name is Kavita Kuruganti. I'm associated with a network, a national network called ASHA, Alliance for Sustainable and Holistic Agriculture. Like Shambhu said, we try to do a few things to make sure that we can be somewhat more environment friendly than what we usually are when we organize such workshops. Part of that is trying to give you organic millets-based food and so on. And a special thanks to Dinesh and Kalyani for making the effort to bring, forgotten millets all the way from Anantapur and feeding us with such food. So we are, doing some things like not trying to give you pens and extra books and, trying to get even a cloth banner is difficult these days. That's a tribe that seems to have disappeared, people who work with their hand on cloth banners. So that's about, there are some pencils that are there. If somebody doesn't have a pen and so on, you can pick those up from there. Coming to the content of the workshop, well, it's obvious that running any enterprise in a viable fashion is, of course, very challenging. And if you're trying to find enterprises which actually create better markets for farmers, that's a greater challenge. And if you're trying to find markets that are controlled by farmers to an extent at least, processes and institutions that they have control over, that's a greater challenge. And on top of that, if you're trying to find markets for organic produce and organic producers, it's of course, one of the most challenging things that one can take upon oneself. And there have been these questions around this workshop itself. People wanted to know, why do you want to discuss organic markets, markets for organic produce? Why don't we first resolve the issue around the fact that farmers and markets itself is a very needed and challenging sort of thing. Why get into organic markets straight away? But we more or less veered towards saying that, look, for those who believe that livelihoods can be improved, both at the production end and then what you do with the output at the end of the produce. Talking about both is very important, because we do have certain market models which didn't actually facilitate sustainable livelihoods. If we look at the Green Revolution pockets in India, for instance, part of the shift towards unsustainable cultivation practices, which then impacted livelihoods later on in the medium and long term, is the fact that in places like Punjab and Haryana and so on, there was a great mandi system that was set up. There was a lot of procurement that was done by the government itself, which led to a lot of monocropping. So it's not just on the technology front. The point is that markets can also create unsustainable livelihoods, and unsustainable technologies will of course affect livelihoods. So one would like to stick with this challenge of organic produce and organic production on the one side, and trying to see how is it that we can intervene in that value chain at different places. We do have a wide range of experiences, perspectives, schools of thinking and so on in this room. Hopefully we'll use it in a very constructive fashion and not in a confrontationist fashion. There's probably no need to do this in a confrontationist fashion at all. We want to create a platform where we can share, learn, probably put in efforts at gleaning out certain common lessons that we can learn, with the clear understanding that there's obviously no uniform model, no uniform approach possible out there. Just like in organic production, you will not prescribe uniformities other than certain principles to be emulated. Similarly, on the marketing front also there are approaches and models, but there are certainly some things to be picked up. And while Shambhu had been cautioning me in particular not to get ambitious, that even if we do a workshop around sharing and learning, that's good enough. Some of us do feel that if we can draw out advocacy proposals from this workshop about what is it that the government should be doing in supporting organic marketing efforts, that would actually be one objective fulfilled for some of us. While for many others, just being in this workshop might be a useful and exciting thing enough. Probably some of you will actually clinch business deals at the end of this workshop. They could be, an outcome that says, let's continue with a platform which will facilitate mutual learning. But there is this ambitious objective also that we've set for ourselves, which is to see whether we can ask the government to do a few things for organic marketing to become easier for farmers and organizations which are promoting this effort. In these 2 days, we have experiences being shared not just of organic marketing efforts from the retail end as well as from the production end. As you know, some people have intervened from the farmers' end. That's the more challenging part, because they're trying to shift cultivation practices. They're trying to create institutions of farmers which will hopefully be self-sustaining, run by themselves, run with some values, run democratically, transparently, and so on. And then also find ways of marketing that produce. So the challenge very obviously is much higher for people who have begun at the farmers' end, at the village end. And there are yet others who have begun at the retail end, usually not in terms of rural markets, usually in metros. And their challenges exist, but they seem to be slightly lower compared to the ones who have begun at the farmers' end. In this workshop, hopefully we will touch upon and get to see different agencies of collectives by which farmers are being organized, not just in terms of legal entities. We have brought into the room people who work very, very informally. Just to take an example, there's something called Vishmukh Dukan in Wardha. They call themselves the Vishmukh Dukan. There's no entity there. 11 farmers who have come together, and today about 50 farmers who are associated with these 11 farmers, and they are able to run an outlet and do a sort of bulk marketing for those 50 farmers. So from those kinds of entities to entities which have actually 3-4 enterprises which have 3-4 different legal entities intervening at different points of the supply chain. There's an NGO, there's a collective, usually cooperative or whatever, and then federations of producer company and things like that. So that is an important aspect to look at. And then there's the NGO or the individual who's trying to promote. So the organizations which are trying to create those collectives of farmers. Let's look at where they stand, what are they bringing to the table. When it comes to organic produce and marketing of organic produce, there's also the issue of trust factor. I'm not saying certification. There are many, many ways by which you address the trust factor that is demanded by the consumers. So let's look at various ways that different entities seem to have addressed it. And as we know, the more localized the marketing effort, the lesser the need for very formal sorts of, those institutions which lend that trust factor. Let's look at what different people are trying. The issues with financing, capital and so on, running, as well as fixed costs. If someone is wanting to invest in processing, someone wants to invest in storage, where is such money coming from? And, we have examples of farmers putting it entirely from their pockets. And there are examples of government agency entirely subsidizing something like that. Let's see what's possible there. There is the issue of consumer education. I think consumer education is an element that exists generally when we want to support farmers' marketing, but more so when it comes to organic. What's been happening at that end is something that we'd like to look at. And pricing. You know, there are so many questions around pricing. Are we talking about premium prices alone? Are we talking about fair and remunerative prices? Are we pegging ourselves against pricing out there which is already somewhat rigged, if you like? Markets out there, or are we allowing farmers to determine price in these initiatives? So there are many questions around pricing. So these are some of the things that we'll obviously hear from every experience that's coming to the table. And like Shambhu was sharing earlier, this is a platform where people from business and management schools have also joined hands. And I would say kindly join hands, because that is not the main thing that's happening in those academic circles. We would have liked them to have been with us for all the 2 days, but several of them who bring in that kind of expertise are having to leave this evening. But the request is for them to, for anyone who represents that background, to please stay on as much as you can, and add your academic perspectives to what is getting discussed. So I'll stop there. Like I said, essentially trying to create a learning and sharing platform at this point of time. But all those of you who are keen on trying to draw out some advocacy proposals that we can take to the government, because ASHA, Alliance for Sustainable and Holistic Agriculture, is essentially an advocacy platform. It's an amorphous, informal national network of people who are very committed and enthusiastic about doing something to improve the livelihoods of farmers. There are equity considerations right in the forefront. We do want to talk about smallholders. We do want to talk about tribal farmers, women farmers, Dalit farmers, and so on. We do want to talk about rain-fed farmers. So keeping all of those in the forefront, we'd like to see what is it that we should ask the government to actually be doing in terms of supporting this. We do have government initiatives also brought into this workshop in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh, and so on. Different departments are going out of their way. Unfortunately, we don't have the Madhya Pradesh representative who was supposed to have joined us. So this is the kind of wide range of people that we've been able to bring into this room. We're quite thankful that you all took the time to be here.